Hi, folks. I am going to share with you 5 tips for. Sometimes it cuts off the beginning. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to share with you 5 tips for not just surviving the lockdown, really thriving in it. The position that a lot of us are in right now is one that is potentially a bit risky for mental health, depending on how you approach it. If you can try to see the opportunities here and to take the opportunities in this scenario, then we could walk away from this time period having gained something, not just lost. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm committed to doing for myself. So let me get straight into the first tip. This is the biggest one. This is the most important one. We'll lead with the most important one. The human mind, the human spirit, the human being thrives on progress. We have to have progress in our lives. If we don't have progress, if we don't feel like we're moving forward, if we don't feel like we're gaining, we're expanding, we're learning, we're on an upward curve, we get anxious. And we get ultimately depressed. If the messages of anxiety are not listened to, then depression will result. The overwhelming majority, 80% I would say, of cases of anxiety that I've helped people with, it's actually because of feelings of fear around progress. And that would include somebody remaining stuck in a narcissistically abusive relationship that they should really be getting out of. The unconscious perceives a lack of progress. It says, my God, we're going to be in the same situation in 2 weeks, 2 years, 20 years time, and then anxiety pops up. So you must have progress. So during this period, we need to be setting our intent so that this is a period where you can take some time off to do the things that you would normally not have the time to do. Make sure that you have the intent set in your mind that's going to be something positive, something you're going to move forward with, and you're going to make real progress with. And it protects your mental health. It allows you to thrive rather than just survive during this period of time. So set your intent, write objectives down, make them time sensitive. So you can say, okay, within this week, within these 15 days, within the next 30 days, I will have made this, this, and this piece of progress. And if you don't hit all the goals, it's fine. At least you gave it a go. The second tip I would offer you is structure. You must have structure. Take out a pen, take out a piece of paper, write down your goals, write down your intentions, and structure your day. It would be a terrible mistake to see this as time off, as in a vacation. Nobody takes a vacation in their house. So don't see it as time off as in a vacation. See it as a period of time when you have some space. You actually have this precious resource called time. And I'm appalled. I've been listening to podcasts today. I'm appalled at the number of people who use the term to kill time. Apparently gaming platforms are doing really well. Zoom is doing really well. Social media platforms are doing really well. And this phrase, Netflix is doing really well, as people look for ways to kill time. And I'm like, why would you want to kill time? Don't kill time. Time's the most precious thing you have. Don't kill it. Use it. You don't get it back. It's the one thing that you can never get back. Once it's gone, it's gone. With money, you make money, you lose money, you can make more if you're smart. Time is gone and it's gone forever. So structure your day. Actually have a structure to your day and to the weeks coming. I imagine we're still going to be doing this in 30 to 40 days time. So create a structure that's at least 30 to 40 days long. Make your commitments and stick to it. The third tip is discipline. This is a period of time where we have to be living with discipline. You can't be on low impulse control right now. You can't just do whatever you feel like or whatever you want to do. You're going to have to actually actively engage with life, with your reality, with discipline. So that will mean pushing outside of your comfort zone. This period of time for people who aren't choosing to live with discipline is laden, the path is laden with temptations and traps. And they can be really damaging to your mental health over time. So make sure that you are prepared to live with a structure and with a degree of discipline. Let this be a period of time where you commit to learning. Is there something that you wanted to study that you've never had time to do before? This is a perfect opportunity. Language, dance, a skill set, cooking. Even I am cooking more. It's incredible. I love it. So this is a good time. It's a good time to read. It's a good time to make progress inside of your own brain. Use this time properly and actually start learning things. The fifth thing is to make sure that you connect with other people. It's a good time to connect with other people. If you are going to live inside of a certain structure and you're going to set your intent to achieve things that you want, it's a good idea to have people to do that with, to actually make yourself accountable to each other. A 30-day period of time is easily long enough if you commit to doing something every day for you to make genuine, authentic, and lasting changes in your life. So if you're on your own or you're with a family, everybody needs to do this. Everybody. So say if you were in a family unit, you would have to, if you're the leader of your family, you would have to start assigning sections of the day. And you go, okay, now is the time period where we study. Now is the time period where we play computer games, watch TV, or whatever it is your kids absolutely insist on doing. Now is the time where we're going to go outside and exercise. Now is the time for this. Now is the time for that. Now we're going to play games. I don't know, whatever you do, whatever you guys do. But it should follow the 5 steps I've just given you. Everybody should be committed to some sort of progress. You need to have them commit to something and say, okay, this is what I'm going to learn to do over the next 30 days, whatever it is. You then need to structure it, write it down. And once you've written it down and you have like a goal setting sheet, have a timetable. Have a timetable for the day, a structure, and then stick to it. Insist that people stick to it with discipline. Yes, it will push them outside of their comfort zones, but right now, a comfort zone can kill. A comfort zone can drive you absolutely bonkers. If any of you are already feeling depressed or already feeling anxious, you're probably behaving in low impulse control ways and just doing whatever you want moment to moment to try and stack your serotonin and dopamine. That can lead to dopamine addiction. It can lead to overuse of technology, overuse of video games, TV, whatever it is, looking for instant gratification. We're not looking for short-term highs here. We're looking to offset pleasure by committing in the long term for something that's only going to pay off further down the road. And everybody in your family unit should be committing to that. Everybody within the family unit should be committing to learning something, a new skill, a language, a song, a poem, a sonnet. I don't care, but that's what they should be doing. If you don't, when it comes to the human body and the human being, if you don't use it, you lose it. You want to keep that neuroplasticity going. You want to be learning. You want to be growing. You want to be moving forward. If you know you're learning something, your self-esteem will go up, your anxiety will come down, and you'll feel better. Connect with each other, keep each other accountable, give each other feedback. I enjoy doing this. I don't enjoy doing that. Is there an easier way to get this done? Okay, let's work together to make that happen and be accountable to each other. This is a really, really good way of getting this time used. Before this pandemic, before the lockdown, just before, in fact, I ran a 30-day challenge, an accountability group, and a good number of you joined for the 30 days. The feedback from that group has been really, really strong. People really enjoyed it. This particular 30-day challenge concept is focused around recovery from CPTSD. So if you're looking to get over a narcissistically abusive relationship or get out of a narcissistically abusive relationship, if you're looking to overcome childhood trauma, if you're looking to deal with long-term mental health issues that are in that anxiety, depression, addiction, anger management, and emotional dysregulation cluster, now is the time. 30 days is easily enough for you to make huge progress in doing that. So we're going to run the 30-day challenge again. We're going to run it from tomorrow. The doors are going to open tomorrow. You'll be able to join up, and then we'll actually start it a week tomorrow. So day 1 will be Wednesday or Thursday of the following week. And within the first week, once you've joined, we have exercises and we have stuff for you to do, so you can start cracking on, because people will be joining at different times. But if you have the resources to do it, you should do it. It's $50. The people who did the last one, please comment here whether you think it was value for money. Please put that in the comments underneath whether you think it was value for money. We should be charging probably more like $150 for the 30 days, given what it is and given what it does, or more. Due to the fact that it was an experiment the first time around, that's why it was $50. Due to the fact that people are not working, a lot of people are struggling financially, we're keeping it $50. We're going to keep it $50 again. If you want to join in with that, then you need to be on the mailing list at spartanlifecoach.com. That is how you can get your invite to join. I'll send out an email with the invite to join tomorrow at 4 p.m. UK time. Forgot what I was going to say. The 30 days of this challenge is very, very much focused on taking you from one place, and the people who've already done the challenge, please confirm this in the comments, confirm that it works. Even those of you who didn't follow along got benefit from it, right? If you missed days or you only did half the challenge, we've got people still now trying to catch up and finish the 30 days. We extended it beyond the 30 days so that they could go through the material and catch up. It's designed like this, that you're starting in one place where you're struggling to deal with the effects of emotionally abusive relationships, CPTSD, so on and so forth, and then you end up in another place at the end of the 30 days. There's no pump up, motivational style, rah, rah, rah stuff that's going to fade after the 30 days. Everything that you gain, you keep. The videos and audios, there's 30 videos, 30 audios for the 30 days, and 30 days of explanation of different exercises I will ask you to do, come back to, do another one, do a variation of it, come back to the old one, and back to this. You keep all that. That's yours. The group that you're joining, which is the fifth piece of the puzzle, that runs for 30 days. When the 30 days is up, I might give you like an extra 15 days at the end of it to wrap everything up that you're doing. But actually, and please confirm this, people who did it the first time around, you're going to get an enormous amount of benefit from just meeting people, talking to people within that group. You will be asked in the beginning to commit to 5 commitments. So the overall theme of the group is to help you regain your personal sovereignty. That's the way the course is designed. If you've never had agency in your life, if you have poor boundaries, if you struggle to say no, if you struggle to say what you want or even to know what you want, this is the course for you. It's designed with you in mind exactly. There are different techniques, different tools that I use to try and pull that from people, to inspire that in people, to bring it out of them, so that by the end of it, they can say, this is what I want, this is who I am, this is my intention, and this is how I'm going to get there. It will make you naturally more assertive. It will make you naturally more able to do what you want to do in life, and to feel motivated, to feel enthusiastic, to feel inspired, to feel like this is something that you would actually want to do. So if you're interested in doing that, please get on the mailing list on spartanlifecoach.com, and I will be inviting people to join up with that from tomorrow. It's the same 30 days that we did the first time around, and obviously as we go week by week, I will be adding a couple of new videos, new ideas, new concepts every week to help people go through. So if you did do it the first time round, you will get benefit from doing it the second time around as well. I will now go and take questions. So if you have a question, please keep it relevant to what we're talking about today. Try and make it 1 sentence long and have it end in a question mark. It'll really help me. So, okay, it's just that random. Charlie says, oh, I missed that. There was somebody who was recommending it and it moved. Oh, here we go. Bleep says, highly recommended. Carrie Paulson says, sign up, folks. I did it and enjoyed it. It's a good course. I was really, really happy with it. Really happy with it. And when you see people's progress, when you're reading people's progress, because we have a way I'm not giving it away here, but we have a way of letting people express where they're up to, so you can see it and look at it within the platform. It's like a forum. So you have your education area where you go and get videos and audios from me and explanations of the exercises. You go away and do them, and then you share what you did in this forum, this community area. And some of it's quite moving because you can see people really making authentic breakthroughs during the 30 days through doing this course. Tammy says, I did it. It was very valuable. I'm keeping up with what I learned and have some great new habit of journaling and reminding myself daily to keep my sovereignty. It is stuck in my head and helping on a daily basis, which is great. That's fantastic. It was wonderful. It was a huge shift for me during that challenge. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Challenge course is excellent. Group support was the tops. Anna Lorak says, you guys go and do the 30-day challenge. It's worth every penny. Very grateful for the affordable price. Thank you, Richard. Thank you very much. Thank you. So there's plenty of people who've done it who really, really enjoyed it and got a lot from it. So if you fancy it, do get on the mailing list and I will be in contact tomorrow. Okay, let's see if we've got any questions here. If you just make it one sentence long and end in a question mark, I will answer you. Jackie says, I'm quarantined with the NARC. Will I still benefit from the 30-day program? Yes, if you can do it in private and make sure that they don't get onto what you're doing. Can I live happily with a narcissist if I became fully aware of his personal traits? By definition of narcissistic personality disorder, the answer has to be no. You can't, a narcissist couldn't abide you, couldn't stand you living happily and peacefully with them. They simply could not permit that. So no. How do I get on the mailing list? You go to spartanlifecoach.com. On the homepage there, if you scroll down to the right, it will say sign up to the newsletter. Tarot for Lovers said the course was a good learning experience. Thank you, Tarot. Best course for thriving after leaving cheating husband 3 weeks ago. Watching all your videos, embracing all emotions. I don't know enough about where you're up to. If you are in an emotional roller coaster, it would be emotional literacy. If you feel like you were with him because of things that were left over from childhood trauma, then it would be the Heal the Superego course. Oriole says, is this a beginner or advanced course? It's for, well, if you've never done anything before, you can do the course. It'll take you from the beginning to the end. If you've never done any of my courses before, join as soon as it opens, because you'll get like 7 days of instruction before you get into like day 1, day 2, day 3. That would be my recommendation if you've never done anything of mine and you're new to my material. Annie says, thanks for the 30-day challenge. No problem. Mandy says, I've done a lot of the work before. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll enjoy it. Is coronavirus a narcissist? Katie said, oh, I'm trying to like grab people's questions and they disappear. Katie says, to do the accountability group, do you need to have done the emotional flashbacks course first? You would have the time within the group to do the emotional flashbacks course. We had people who hadn't done the emotional, like, you don't have to do the emotional flashbacks course, but I don't know you. So if you are emotionally flashbacking a lot, any sort of work like this that asks you to do what I'm going to be asking you to do to take you from where you are to where I want you to be will trigger emotional flashbacks. So if you are very emotional flashbacky, then you definitely need to do the course first, but you should be doing that anyway. If you're struggling with emotional flashbacks, it's a free course. Just do the Stop Emotional Flashback course, commit to it for 2 weeks and reduce your emotional flashbacks. Your life will be better. Have you seen Sam's recent videos? If so, what did you think, Richard? I've watched them all. I thought they were all very funny. It's on a meta level, it's funny that Sam is the single most comforting voice in all of this. The single most comforting voice. A diagnosed, multiply diagnosed narcissistic psychopath is the most comforting and funniest and sanest voice that I've heard in all of this. The sanest, the funniest. So yeah, I've enjoyed it very much, very, very much. And he's posting more, which is nice. Can you talk about the issue of narcissistic fleas and whether you get back to normal after leaving the narc? Yeah, you should get back to normal if you do the healing work that you need to do. If you don't, the emotional dysregulation, the third-hand trauma can last and it can worsen. So if you think that you've got some of that, you need to do some work on it. UG Rose is here. Hi all. Hello, UG Rose. How will this pandemic change the psychology of our society in the longer term? Wow, Adam, just firing me up with a flipping 5,000 word dissertation. Well, the virus itself won't at all, but let me say this, our psychology is revealed in the response to this virus, in the response to this pandemic. And the issues that we have that I've been talking about for years and that I started warning about way more forcefully towards the end of last year. In fact, I embarrassingly started crying on a YouTube live, are now being highlighted. And you know, it's an opportunity for a shift, and I think we'll either make those changes or we won't. We are a very, very selfish, childish, and highly narcissistic society, and that's a problem. That's a real problem. If there is a will to change, then we will, and if there is not a critical mass will to change, then we won't. We'll remain exactly the same, and like narcissists, we will absorb the event into our narcissistic narrative and carry along exactly as we were before, to our catastrophic end result. Catastrophic. So I feel pretty good. I feel pretty optimistic. I feel pretty upbeat personally. But if you start to ask me about where the group is up to, you know, I'm going to keep doing my thing. I'm going to keep grinding, and I'm going to keep saying to people, hey, you know, have you thought about this? And trying to be funny about it and keep it interesting and keep making my pop culture references and everything. But I am personally as well, and I was probably saying this last year, and I've dropped various videos about it as well. This modality is finite for me. There is an end in sight. Like, I won't be doing this, what you see me doing now in a year's time. There's just no way. Not because of like, I'm pissed off with people and I'm going to leave. I'll still be doing YouTube videos. I'll be doing videos somewhere. I don't know whether it'll be on YouTube anymore. Just like, YouTube's a mess. And I did say to people, like, I'm CPTSD and narcissism is not front and center in my life personally. So it feels now very strange to come online and do videos about a subject that I don't think about. It's not part of my life anymore. And that becomes, for multiple reasons, that becomes a problem. So will we change as a society? I think people change slowly. And that if you want my honest opinion, this probably wasn't anywhere near painful enough to create the kind of changes that we need. So we'll see. We'll see. Annie Norfolk says, people are asking questions like never before. Now people are listening, Richard. Some are, well, some of them. The ones that are willing, expand and not be spoon-fed lies by media. Yes, yes. We'll see. We'll see. It's a bit of it's a spiritual test. It's also an IQ test. It's like a group IQ test. And I'm like, oh, I hope we pass. I hope we pass. Julie says, can you give advice for dealing with this coronavirus? I'm not a doctor. For a health worker to deal with anxiety and fear, anything that could make us stronger to be in hospital every day. Well, you know, I used to be a self-protection instructor, and I would get boys and girls in various dangerous situations saying to me, how do I deal with the anxiety and the fear? Like, how do I, this thing is annoying. How do I chop it off and push it away? And I would always say when I was doing the self-protection work, is like, where's the anxiety and the fear coming from? Look at it. What's the message it's giving you? Can you give me a threat matrix? Can you break down for me on a piece of paper, like a mind map of what the threat is, of where you are most in danger, when you are most in danger, what most endangers you in your daily life in the hospital? What are some steps you can take to harden the target? So working in the security industry for years, we would do target hardening. Can you avoid? Can you evade? Is there anything you can do to meet the threat preemptively even? So these are the kinds of questions that I would ask, because, you know, you're in a hospital during a pandemic. So we should assume that there is risk. It would be foolish to not assume that there is risk at this point. What the extent of that risk is, you know, that's for people with the right degrees, the right understanding to say. But there's obviously a very, very wide range of responses on that. So you've got your protective gear, you've got your protective protocols, you're going to do all that you can to protect yourself. And then there is fear and there is anxiety. Where's it coming from? What can you do to moderate that fear and anxiety? What's it telling you to do? What's it telling you to not do? What would make you more comfortable? These are the questions that we would ask in a situation of live threat. You know, you're a female security guard on a nightclub that's very, very active, and there's large groups of rough people in there drinking Bacardi breezes and snorting badly cut cocaine. They're on steroids and they're ready to fight, and you will be fighting. So you'll feel fear and anxiety. And, you know, I would say, well, I don't want you to not feel fear and anxiety, because you get killed. Be all sloppy about it, and you get your head mashed. So we want you on your toes. We want you sharp. We want you vigilant. But if you study and listen and look and learn, that helps. You study the enemy, study the protocol, study exactly what's going on. That can always help. What's with the red string on your wrist? I have joined a cult of Kabbalah with Madonna and her mates. Somebody gave it to me, and they did it out of good intent, and I am wearing it. Will the course deal with codependency? I am in the process of writing a book. This is one of the things that I'm doing. Like, I'm committing to, I'm working to a structure. I'm working to discipline every day. And that book will be about my journey, dealing with CPTSD, dealing with narcissistic abuse, and dealing with codependency. CPTSD is not something I'm particularly, you know, I used to be able to mark down in a diary like how many fucking emotional flashbacks, real emotional flashbacks I'd get in a week or in a day. And now it's just not really a part of my life. Codependency still is. Codependency is bloody hard to get to the root of and pull it out, but I'm working on it. This course does help with your codependency, to the extent that a codependent is never allowed, a true codependent, a true fawning, See, this is what I've learned writing the book. I say codependent. You've said codependent. We all say codependent. We probably should be talking about parentified children. A parentified child, not even fawn responder. Fawn responder, I was saying for a while, still not nuanced enough. We are parentified children. Therefore, we are neurotic responsibility takers. Therefore, we're neurotic in eradicating our needs and eradicating ourselves and making ourselves invisible. This course will help you to come back to life and come back to visibility and come back to a position where you'd be ready to say, hey, I'm ready to break some taboos. I'm ready to ask for what I want. You probably couldn't when you were a kid because asking for what you want would get you clipped. I mean, I don't mean in the Italian-American sense of being shot in the back of the head with a small caliber pistol. I mean clipped in the English sense of being smacked around the head, a clip round the ear. Unless your mum's a mob boss, in which case you'd already be done. Hey, your name is Idris. I learned about Idris the other night. He has he's a direct descendant of Thoth and Hermes, and in the Islamic tradition, Idris went to space, man. He went out into the seven heavens. That's cool. So yeah, it helps with codependency. It helps because it will teach you to be you and to ask for what you want. And it'll teach you to fly out into space and to see the seven heavens. No, it won't do that. But maybe it will. Maybe it will for you. I don't know. But it will definitely help with codependency. But it's not a codependency course as such. It's a course for people who follow me, which would be fawn responders, freeze responders, you know, people with CPTSD, people who identify as codependent, people who identify as the targets of narcissistic abuse, so on and so forth. So it's for them. It's like, so if you look at like who follows me, that's who it's for. Codependency is part of that, but this course was designed probably like, it's really me trying to get people over the line with CPTSD, because I released a video on this earlier this year called it was called something about staying solar or I'm solar or something like that. And I actually was driving on the motorway thinking about this project, the Spartan Life Coach project, and the people who follow me. And I pulled over to make this video because I was like, fuck, I need to say this. I have this strong intuitive sense that the people who follow me are, it's not a question of intelligence. I have a lot of bright, intelligent, bright, creative people following me. But there's this weird sort of like, not moving forwardness, floppiness, a passivity, a kind of a toxic passivity, which can result from years of trauma, where people wouldn't help themselves. They're dying of thirst in the desert, and you're like, there's water, and they go, what, this water? And they just, and you're like, what? Why did you do that? I just gave you, if you don't drink, you're gonna die. Yeah, no, and they just drop it on the floor. And I'm like, why would people do that? And then my brain went to, as a codependent, I was like, oh, I should go to where they are and pull them up. And then I was like, no, you fucking nitwit, that's codependency. Now you're trying to help people out their codependency in a codependent way, which if I lose this whole project and if I lose everything, but I overcome codependency, it's worth it. It's 100% worth it. I don't want to be codependent anymore. I really don't. And so I was like, well, how do you reframe this? And I was like, I'm not coming to you guys anymore. You come up to my level because it's nice here. I'm in the sun. Come join me. Don't hang out down there in the dark. Don't be hidden from sunlight. Don't be, buried in the earth, hidden. Don't hide in the earth, hiding from the sun. It's not healthy. Get out, get in the sun. You come join me. And so I basically said, look, I'm going to do this 30-day challenge. I'm going to do a YouTube channel called Fortress Mental Health Protection System, which I have done. It's on hold because of the lockdown. And I'm just going to give the 30-day challenge. I'm charging $50. It's like 40 quid. It's not crazy. The Fortress mental health protection system, I'm giving it away. That's totally for free. The $50 I kind of have to charge because it costs me to run the thing. I have to pay moderators. I have to pay for the platform's not cheap either. But once that's done, it's done. It's done. And I'll just be like, there's courses. I wrote a book. There's a whole YouTube channel. I'm not answering questions about this because now my time and attention, instead of moving forward, is being pulled back into stuff that I've already. And it's not like I feel I've outgrown it. It's not like I feel it's boring. I just don't feel like it's part of my life. So I'm sat here now talking, and this doesn't feel congruent where it always did. Spartan Life Coach was always me. It was always just me. And that's why it worked. And now I'm like, okay, let's talk about narcissistic abuse again. I don't want to. I really like for over a year. I haven't wanted to do it, but people want me to do it. So I want to be able to say, I want to live the experience of saying, I already told you. The information's out there. The book will cost like £7. That course, and that course, if you buy it together as a package, is like $80. You know, and just go, please, or just do the free stuff. I've released tons of stuff for free, and just say, I'm not talking about this anymore. Let other people do it. There's loads of people who are like, there's loads of new people coming online talking about narcissism, talking about CPTSD. Let them do it. Let them do it. I don't. Once this is done, this will be out for me. Marty says, it gets to a personal stance of kicking a dead horse. My brain can't listen to it anymore. Yeah, I mean, yes. And, you know, first world problems, what a privileged position I'm in where I'm like, oh, that thing that makes money. It's not my primary business. It's a secondary business. It's a labor of love. But to be able to say that thing that's making me money, that's putting fuel in the car, that's paying rent, oh, it's not my favorite thing to do. It's not my favorite intellectual bauble, because that's, at this point, that's what it is. I'm not climbing out the hole of a narcissistically abusive relationship. I'm not climbing out the hole of CPTSD. So to me, at this point, the way I convinced myself to get back into talking about narcissism was through intellect. It's like, okay, what do you love about this? I don't love anything. Come on, you must love something about it. And I was like, well, it's challenging. It's intellectually, it's challenging. It's a hard topic. It's a hard topic to penetrate, which is why there's so much guff out there about it, and people just repeating stuff that other people have said. And, you know, you could, somebody, I would love to see it. Somebody one day should do a paper that compares YouTube, Facebook, and, you know, Reddit forum wisdom about narcissism to actual published peer-reviewed research, and just be like, wow, these things really grew. We're like on, you know, those weird animals that only grow on certain islands, and they've got this whole like evolutionary curve that broke away from the rest of all the animals in the world. That's what the online narcissism thing is like. It's like, people are saying stuff, and then they come back to me and they're like, well, what about final disregard phase tuckadiboo? And I'm like, where did you get that shit from? Like, who's taught you to say, what are you talking about? What is this? What is this? The grand finale. I'm like, oh, please. You mean the breakup? Don't use terms that are jargonistic and technical when you can just be normal and say the breakup. You broke. It was the grand finale trademark. Like, come on, guys, get the fuck out of here. Hoovering. You mean when your ex contacts you? Don't call it hoovering. Just say when your ex contacts you. So all of that is like, it makes this vein right here start pulsing a little, a little too much. Ted1775, is this live? Yes, it is. David, we don't get closure from other people, just from ourselves. That is 100% true. It's 100% true. There would probably be scenarios like fantasy scenarios where you would want your ex to say X, Y, and Z, and you'd want them to be a different way. But if they were, you wouldn't be here. Think of all the time you've spent listening to me and other people and the books and reading forum posts, and it's a lot. It's a lot. Do I just need to do more and longer? Says CK. I would just keep going until you finished. I mean, and if you're not sure if you finished, you didn't finish. You'll know when you finished. Annette Sinclair says, "Can you fully heal from complex PTSD?" It was a video I did recently. God damn, it didn't do well. People didn't watch it. It's what is the title is the reason people didn't watch it is probably the title was too vanilla. The title is How to Make Good Decisions. Okay, and it was released like a week ago. Watch it. I can't give you your childhood back. No therapist can. You could do, you could be seeing Alice Miller, Pete Walker, Judith Herman, and whoever else you like for the next 3 years. Nobody can give you your childhood back. Nobody can, or if it wasn't childhood trauma, if it was like you were a political prisoner or something, nobody can give you that time back. And so when you say completely, fully heal, I say yes. But my workaround for saying yes is, I've never tried to verbalize this before. Got a pen. So I would say yes, but I'm kind of cheating, and I'll tell you why. So say if we do the old psychology game where we pretend to be doctors, you put on a little coat and you put on a little stethoscope and you go, I'm a doctor now. And you go, here's the illness. What's it called? It's called complex PTSD. How does it manifest? So my hypothesis, massively leaning on Pete Walker's work and one book, really, Complex PTSD from Surviving to Thriving, is that CPTSD or CPTSR breaks down to a few major problems, major problems. One is emotional flashbacks. The other is issues with the superego, the inner critic, outer critic, that judgmental voice that runs in your head. So emotional flashbacks and emotional regulation, the superego, and then the third thing would be issues around codependency, because complex PTSD also covers psychopathy and narcissism and histrionic and borderline, but they're probably not desperately looking to heal from trauma. They're not going, there's something wrong with me and I should take responsibility and I should get it fixed so I can. No, they're just doing what they do, predatorily, in a predator-like fashion. And so I say there's these three circles. Can we resolve all three circles? Yes. We can take it to the point where you don't have emotional flashbacks anymore. And that's hard, but it's fairly linear. It's like, I can stand over your shoulder and go, I told you what to do. There's this exercise, this drill, and this technique. Are you doing it? And you go, yes, boss. And I'll go, do you feel better? And you'll go, yes, boss. Or I'll say, did you do it? And you'll go, no, boss. And I go, that's why you don't feel better. And then you feel bad, but there's still hope there, because if you do what I told you to do, you'll feel better. So it's linear. The superego stuff is more challenging. It's more mercurial. It's harder to get hold of. It's almost like trying to take a torch and shine the light on the beam, to use the torchlight to shine on its own beam. But we've done it. Like, I've done it for myself, and I've done it with clients, and not face to face. I've never done Heal the Superego, Science Inner Critic work face to face. I've only ever done it remotely via the internet, which is impressive. It's good. Like, it's, if I could just pat myself on my own back there, that's good work, because it's hard to do. And then you have the codependency issue, which is like, yeah, we could probably get you 50 to 60% clear of it, but because codependency is a fundamental way of dealing with reality, it seems to be, this stuff is like software programs. Your superego is a fucking huge software program, but it is a software program. You're not born with that. You have to ingest reality and communication to form introjects to form a superego. Emotional flashbacks, well, they're learned because that's a response to trauma. So the first two things are very much learned and can be unlearned. Codependency can be unlearned, but you're talking about software that's kind of linked to the hardware. It's really down deep in the hard drive. You before me is the fundamental code, piece of software code that's down in the foundations of the person's personality. It's hard to get out. So can we do all that? Am I comfortable saying heal from CPTSD? I usually use recover. I sometimes have said cure, and sometimes I've said heal. So yes, but what have I done? This is my cheat. I've taken your symptoms and I've removed them, but I didn't give you your childhood back. I can't. Nobody can. I'm barring you being in a time machine, having different parents, and reliving your childhood. We'd have to wipe. I mean, there's just, even in science fiction, like, you can't do it because we'd be killing you. So if we really were going to eradicate your complex PTSD, there would be no shred of you left. You would disappear. It would be some weird Schrodinger's cat quantum time travel thing. And by the time you come back out the time travel pod, it wouldn't be you going, this is me, but free from CPTSD. You would be gone. Your whole thing would be gone. You'd be a different person because you've had a whole different, is this making sense? So you come to me, so I'm pretending to be a doctor, and you go, I've got a rash and my right nostril is blocked. And I go, dibbity babbity boo, take half of this tablet, jam this in your eyeball every 3 hours. How do you feel now? It's gone. Bang. That's healed. Done. But you would have been better if you never had the rash and the blocked nose, right? So we're dealing with the symptoms. We don't deal with the cause. I can't. I literally can't do it. And so I think what I said in that video, how to make good decisions, is it would have been better had it not happened that way. But this is still really good. It's because if somebody's miserable and they can't live their lives, and you make it so that they can experience joy and can live their lives, I call that really good. That's fucking great. That's a solid 9 out of 10 right there. Like, I wanted to kill myself. Now most of the time I'm pretty happy. I have moments of joy and I look forward to the future. Well, that wasn't a possibility 7 or 8 years ago. So I'm like, well, it's pretty fucking good. So that is my completely honest answer. Ted 1775. Richard. There it is. It's a straw, you see. Watch it. How my straw reaches across the room and starts to drink your milkshake. Drainage, Eli, you boy. I got triggered by Ted. Drainage. Don't bully me, Daniel. If you didn't enjoy There Will Be Blood, this will be utterly meaningless. Daniel Day-Lewis is so good. He takes the straw and he rests it on Eli's nose, and symbolically, in a Freudian moment, that's his phallus. He rests his limp, not even hard, his limp phallus of straw on Eli's nose, just to utterly dominate him. I drink it up. Let me get my bowling pin. I've finished. Slavey Nike. This is going to be totally bewildering for people who haven't seen There Will Be Blood. Slavey Nike. Richard, what would you recommend as the next step after the 30 days challenge? Well, as you're doing the 30-day challenge, you're building your next steps. You're building your next steps for the next month, the next 6 months, the next year. That should all be there. That should all be there in the work that you do. Austin set me off. I've abandoned my child. Give me the blood, Eli. Give me the blood. Where's the Lord? Ah, there he is. There he is, Eli. There is power in the blood. Power in the blood. Zachariah Adil. Richard, please, Plessy. Please, Plessy, will you be a guest on my video cast? Yeah, sure. Now? Can I finish this one? Will Softmore. Richard, please answer my question. When you guys want to ask me to answer your question, just quote your question. So otherwise I have to go looking for it. So please answer my question. Here it is. Here it is, Eli. Ziva. You have every right to move away from things that you've outgrown. We're responsible only for ourselves and people from our closest social circle. All the best in your adventures. Thank you very much. Major D says, how is your knee? It's doing really well. Doing really, really well. I'm very, very, very happy with it. But I'm the best patient in the world. You know, I have this whole like rebel side to me. And then there's this other side to me that's total submission to authority if I think they know what they're talking about, which goes back to the traditional martial arts training and like private school education when I was a kid. So the physio, like the surgeon tells me to do something, I do it to the letter. The physio tells me to do something, I do it to the fucking letter. I become extremely regimented in Japanese about the whole thing. Like it's my duty. I must do every single rep. So I'm really happy. The leg locks, your quad atrophies faster than any other muscle in the body, and it takes longer to come back, which I didn't know before this. And I'm used to a certain rate of reuptake when a muscle's been out of action, then I bring it back in. And yeah, I'm looking at my quad going, seriously, dude, like, wake up. But it's going to take time. And I only just got permission a week ago to start the physio properly. Thank you for asking. I probably gave too much information there. Very Aries of you. Yes, except I'm Pisces. How long can CPTSD induced psychological states last? Can someone function perpetually under a CPTSD altered psychotic state? Yes, we call these people, we say they have dissociative identity disorder, psychotic disorder, some borderlines and some narcissists are pretty much delusional, delusionally psychotic. Somebody with CPTSD who's in very intense cascading series of flashbacks can pretty much live their whole life in that state. I've lived, my ex was like that. She lived 24/7 in that state. And when I realized that, I did feel a bit more sorry for her. It was really strange. I was driving along and one day, it was after I'd split up with her, and I got a dose of anxiety, but it was beyond anxiety. And this little voice in my head went, this is how she feels. And I was just terrified, absolutely. Just my whole body was adrenalized with terror. And I always thought of her as angry, like she was a rageful, like the most rageful human, definitely the most rageful girl I've ever known, possibly one of the most rageful humans I've ever known. Because I've been around like gangsters and nutcases, cokeheads, you know, all kinds of lunatics. But she was like that all the time. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know any gangsters who were like that, who would wake up in the morning raging, eat their lunch, raging, go to the gym, raging, and I'd be like, how? But one of the weird side effects of that is I think her body had adapted to it because she was really, really slim and she could eat. Like she would eat and eat and eat and eat cake and eat like everything they tell you not to eat. She'd stay really, really slim, super, super slim. I think she was hyper adrenalized the whole time with what I perceived as rage, but I momentarily experienced her terror and I was like, oh shit. Okay. It doesn't justify it, doesn't make it right, but it gave me insight. It gave me a huge amount of insight into, people call it abandonment anxiety. And if I had the chance, I try to correct people and say, it's misleading to say that. We should be calling it abandonment terror. It's the kind of terror you would feel falling off a boat into a cold sea, where you were like, yeah, there's a pretty good chance this is how I'm going to die. Those initial seconds, and it just takes over the whole system. So yeah, it's very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. There is power in the blood, power in the blood. Okay. Will says, hey, Richie, what do you think about Bill Gates of Hell and the mandatory vaccination? Is the deep state a real threat? There are real threats that are a real threat. And yeah, this is the jab. Then we're going to get the right cross. We haven't had the right cross yet, but the jab and the right cross are going to be there for the liver shot that comes under your guard. And if any of you have ever boxed or done Muay Thai and you've been hitting the liver, it's pretty devastating. They're already testing in Moravia, which is the poorest country in Europe at the moment, and they're going to try it in the Czech Republic as well. The Illuminati and I, we're going to start with soft tracking of humans. So you will have an app on your phone that tracks where you go and who you talk to. So this is what they're saying. I don't believe this. So that in the future, we'll be able to control the spread. So you will be asked to give up your civil liberties. Probably the most efficient way of getting this done would be microchipping. So somebody said to me on Instagram, they were like, oh, what do you think about the possibility of an app that tracks where you're going? I'm like, that's not a possibility. That's real. We won't go back to normal now. That's 100%. So apps that track you will be mandatory. Medical passports will become mandatory. And those medical passports, I think, will start by saying you need to have had the test that shows if you have the antibodies for COVID-19, if you've already had it or not. And different countries will let you in or not based on whether you've got that. And then it probably would lead to vaccination and probably would lead to microchipping. But they're not stupid. They won't be like, we're doing this tomorrow at midday. It'll roll out slowly. And they're good, man. They're really, really good. They'll cook us slowly, and they'll make it so the social pressure for you to conform is so strong, you won't feel able to not do it. They may even, be like biblical Book of Revelation stuff. If you don't have the barcode, they just won't let you buy or sell or trade. That's what they said, right? If it's not in your hand and in your head, you won't be able to buy or sell or trade. I haven't read the Book of Revelations for a minute, but so yeah, that's always going to be the end. They're always going to push for that. And if you think about it dispassionately, it makes sense. You have a very, very, very small number of people with a disproportionately huge amount of money governing a huge mass of humans that have no chance whatsoever, zero chance whatsoever of controlling if we saw the kind of civil unrest that we saw in the past. It's just the numbers were much smaller. The numbers were tiny compared to today. So, of course, they're going to push for control. There's always going to be a major push towards control. And so we have to, just have to be vigilant. And we'll see how humanity does. If they'll resist it, or if they'll be like, no, put the microchip in my hand so I can go back to watching the Kardashians. Well, I have an opinion on that. Control is definitely. I mean, it's already there. We're already way more controlled than we realize. Way more tracked than we realized. Shayna, can someone who's been emotionally abused live in a constant state of dissociation without knowing it? Yes, absolutely. One of the big problems with the freeze response and with dissociation is most people, because of dissociation, don't realize they're dissociating. So I have this magical power sometimes, like if I do an Instagram live or I do a YouTube live and I talk to somebody and I've never talked to them before, and I'll go, you're a freeze responder. You dissociate a lot. And they'll be like, oh, how did you know? He's psychic. I knew he was psychic. And I'm like, how do I know you're dissociating? Because when I ask you a question, you're like this. So you'd be like, what's your favorite color? They go, the jaw slackens, the eyes go wide, and the tongue hits the roof of the mouth, and like, Gabook. So yeah, you won't know. You won't know, which makes dissociation quite dangerous. Fortunately, though, dissociation, I found, if people, once they've identified they're dissociating, all they have to do is convince themselves that they're safer being associated. Give them some Zen practice, mindfulness, meditation practice, being in the moment, telling yourself, okay, it's safer for me to be in the moment because then I can assess if there are threats there. If things are good, I will enjoy it more if I'm present. If things are bad, I can do something more about it in a way that's more effective if I'm present as well. So, yeah. Zachariah Adil. How do I arrange the video cast with you? Just send a message to helpdesk at spartanlifecoach.com with the subject title videocast, and tell them that you spoke to me on a live and I said I'd do a video cast with you. Neil Clark says, have you ever talked about the void? What void are you talking about, Neil? Which one? I don't think I've ever talked about a void. You say the void. What void? What do you mean? Penny Lane. Pauline says, when is the book out? When I've written it. Just got the book, Coping with Trauma-Related Dissociation, recommended in Pete Walker's book. Excellent stuff. Atomic Sonic says, hi, Richard, love. Are you make quarantine with anyone in addition to all of us? Have you make a time with Lady Beautiful? Have you had any good conversations yet? Oh, I make many. You are naughty. Haley Martin says, does porn make someone with MPD or other cluster B issues worse? I don't know. I wouldn't have thought so. Would it make them worse? I've seen research and been told anecdotally that it can lead to a kind of semi-autistic response to intimacy. I mean, porn usage. I remember speaking to a guy. He's quite famous now, actually. He did really well, and he was saying, "Oh, I'm a little bit addicted to porn." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And we spoke about it. And then this is years ago when I used to coach. And then I said to him at one point in the conversation, towards the end, I was like, "Oh yeah, when you say addicted, what do you mean?" And he was like, "My average session lasts between 6 and 8 hours. I usually don't go to sleep until 5 o'clock in the morning." And I was like, "What the fuck?" He's married as well. I was like, "How does your wife not murder you?" So there's porn consumption. There's porn consumption. 6 to 8 hours is pretty extreme. I would think. So yeah, what would normal porn use look like if there is such a thing? Normal. Be better. Yeah. You know what this feels like? It feels a bit like you're asking me from inside the concentration camp if I agree with the particular color paint the prison guards have used to do that wall. I'm like, I wouldn't set things up like this. I didn't set things up like this. I don't want things set up like this. This is not a world of my creation. But when my world has dawned, then you will see. I don't. You have to track the pathology backwards quite a long way before you get to porn. So how should I put it? Don't focus. Look at the symptom, absolutely. But porn is a symptom. We, as human beings, are in a huge struggle with our own nature, and a huge part of that struggle is sex and our sexuality. We are enormously neurotic around anything to do with genitals, our genitals, and anything to do with sex, which means that pornography becomes something that people want. And because it's repressed, it means that it becomes something that is hugely profitable. Somebody sent me the stats on porn usage, or maybe it was just Pornhub. But like during the lockdown, it's gone through the roof. That's not good. I'm not judgy. I'm really super, super liberal. But there are certain things that we do that we think are normal that I think are not. It's not from like don't do it, it's all bad, it's all wrong perspective. It's from the perspective of, if you need that, and if as a society and if as a culture that's a thing that we need, we're way off. We're way off. We're fucking way off. We're really sick. Because that just means we're hugely repressed. You go, oh, there's porn, you can hook up, you can have casual sex, you can do this, whatever you want. You have all the freedom in the world to do whatever you want, but the freedom to do what? This is Slavoj Žižek's point, and it pertains to sex and it pertains to pornography. You're free, but free to do what? You're infected with an ideology that means you can only enjoy certain things within this weird narrow band frequency. And it's all so regulated and robotic and carefully controlled, and carefully tracked as well. It's very, very sad. It's very, very sad. So I wouldn't want to be like, oh, narcissists, they like porn and the porn is bad for you. I'd be like, wow, how did we end up in a thing where that even exists? And it's legal, but it's half legal, and they're getting taxed and they make money off it. But, you know, at the same time, you're not really supposed to do it because we have laws around obscenity. I haven't had the time to look at it, but I don't understand what the legality of porn is in the United Kingdom. I'm like, it's like, and then it's in films now. So sometimes I'll be watching a movie and there'll be like full penetration shots. I'll be like, why? How does this pass a regulator? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but at the same time, when I'm watching a film about somebody's descent into madness whilst they're addicted to cocaine, I don't need to see that. It's not part. Do you know what I mean? And that's also part of the neurosis. I'm probably not explaining it very well. I would look at the whole template of everything and say that it indicates that something is really, really wrong, and we're in a struggle with our true nature. And we really are in a huge amount of denial about the entities that we are, which is frustrating and causes a tremendous amount of mental health issues outside of codependency, trauma, addiction, narcissistic abuse, all of that. These are all maybe symptoms of the fact that we are losing a battle with our own true nature. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it. Thank you very much for your time and for your attention. I hope that you found that useful. If you are interested in doing the 30-day challenge, we're opening the doors tomorrow. If you'd like to receive an invite to do that, then please join the mailing list, the newsletter, at spartanlifecoach.com. Please stay very grateful and very appreciative for all of the good things in your life at the moment. Thank you.